Joining me now is foreign policy analyst Rula Jibril. Rula, thank you for coming in. This is being seen as a victory for the Palestinians, but just in a broader sense, how significant is Israel's decision?
I think this is a victory basically for the peace camp. It's a victory for civil activists in Palestine, but also it's a signal to the Israelis on the left who want a solution for the situation. For the first time, Abbas, the Palestinian Authority president, Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, and even the King of Jordan were irrelevant to the conversation because basically people decided, Christian and Muslim, no more oppressive policies, no more oppressive measures, and they will stand up in a very organized, basically genuine uprising. They will stand up to these measures, and they did it.
And just take us through how this process came about, how they managed to reach a resolution.
It's basically, before the resolution, let's talk about basically the build up to what happened last week and the week before. So during the last 2 years, since Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu has been in office, they've been allowing basically visitors to visit the mosque in an really uncoordinated way with the Muslim community, and they would visit the mosque. Basically, there was always harassment, always tension, always the idea. And you have ministers in the cabinets of Bibi Netanyahu saying, basically, sooner or later, we will take the grounds. So slowly, the Palestinians in the West Bank, and especially in Jerusalem, felt that they could not access their holy sites. And for the first time, you saw Muslims and Christians standing together saying, look, this is not about our religious identity. This is about national identity and our rights as Palestinians.
And it's also about,
from that moment,
it's about sovereignty, as you say, too.
It's about sovereignty, but it's about basically the idea that we are all equal in Jerusalem. We have equal rights. So if you are a Jew, you're allowed certain things. If you are a Palestinian, you are not allowed certain things. And they said, basically, they send a signal, no more of that. We will not put up with that. So when the Israelis start slowly sending people who would tweet pictures saying, we will destroy the mosque, we will take the grounds, we will do this, we'll do that. The police never reacted to these provocations. But if you are a Palestinian and would say something provocative, they would arrest you. So it's the double standard on and off. Then you had violence by settlers who basically harassed the Palestinian community. And then there was a reaction by some Palestinians, and there was a shooting in the Al-Aqsa mosque. Since that shooting, Bibi Netanyahu decided unilaterally, without any coordination with any of the people in charge of the holy site, to do what he did. And he erected what the Palestinians saw as oppressive measures to prevent them from entering the mosque. And they said no. They stood up for days and days and days, being harassed. They never answered in a violent way. And basically, by the end of it, he decided, okay, I'll cancel these measures. It was the most important humiliation, maybe, for this prime minister.
Did Jordan play a key role in resolving this?
I think the Palestinian people play the keyest role. I mean, look, what we've seen for the first time, as I start saying, it's the Palestinian people who stood up and said no to these oppressive measurements. They did not listen to the King of Jordan or to any of the officials in the Palestinian Authority, or even to Bibi himself. They basically continued and said no. For days and days, they stood up, Christian and Muslim, praying in front of the mosque, having thousands of people rallying around the sites. And they decided, we will not put up with that. It actually reminded me of the first Intifada, 1987, when it was the most genuine popular uprising. Nobody around the world predicted it. But I think this is the beginning. We're not seeing the end of it.
The Jordanian king has just issued a rare statement in which he slammed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, describing his behaviour as being provocative on all fronts. That is, however, very strong words from the Jordanian monarch, who normally tends to play more of a mediating type role.
Look what happened in Jordan itself. They were hosting the embassy, the Israeli embassy. They were shooting there. And then basically the people who came back from the embassy, the Israelis, were welcomed as heroes in Israel. One of them, actually, who is considered the newest hero in Israel, he killed one teenager who basically wanted to threaten him with a screwdriver, which is a known weapon, and he killed basically a physician for no reason. These are the people that Israel considers heroes today. The king of Jordan is fed up. He's tired. He is concerned also because he sees a threat. The fire of Jerusalem. Jerusalem is the beating heart of every intifada. It has started always there. The first intifada started there. The second intifada started there. We have to be careful of how we basically, and this is the warning to Prime Minister Netanyahu, you don't play and feed that fire because it can burn all of us together.
Now, one element about this crisis is the fact that it took 11 days before the Americans weighed in and they sent their negotiator, Jason Goldblatt.
Yeah, I guess the president was very busy with a Russian collusion scandal. He's very busy tweeting about Fox News and NBC and CBS. He has no time for Middle Eastern crisis.
So have we got to the point now that, as far as the region is concerned, that they can see the Americans are no longer willing or able to play a significant role in that part of the world?
Well, I don't think they've been able to play a significant role since Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu stood up in Congress. Let's remember, in Congress, defying the sitting president of the United States, then President Obama, not on Israeli-Palestinian policy, but on another basically major achievement of President Obama. That was the Iran deal. He gave a speech at Congress. He lobbied Congress against a sitting president. That was a moment where we realized that basically the Americans have no leverage. It's not the other way around. It's not that the Americans are working to facilitate the peace deal. The Americans are working for the Israelis, for the right-wing Israeli government and whatever they wanted. And what we're seeing is a capitulation on the left and on the right to the will of the Israeli government. What they cannot predict, what nobody will predict, and nobody understood, that the prime minister, with this move, basically this is a defeat for Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. And that's why he came this morning saying, I want death sentence for every Arab who threatened an Israeli. And then he came out saying, well, they need to be careful. We will see oppressive measures over and again. But on this, he lost. He knows that. And the world knows that. Not only the world, the Palestinians themselves, they learned something. There's a new factor in the equation. The popular movement in Palestine basically is still alive and kicking. It's a reminder of 1987. It's a reminder of the Arab Spring, with people without any organization stood up and demanded their right. And there's nothing more powerful than this. I remember an Israeli general who said, we do very badly with Gandhis. And I think we might really see something like that.
Rula Jibril, I'm sorry we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.